Hey searchers, thanks for tuning in. As you can see by the title of this video, I'm currently stuck in Amsterdam Airport, unable to leave, and I want to explain exactly what happened, how I got myself in this situation, what the big mistake I made was, and how you can avoid doing what I did when you travel in the future. So stay tuned. Hi, my name's Ashley and I have a passion for world travel. So when I lost my corporate job back in 2019, it only made sense and was a lot cheaper for me to put everything in storage and live full time out of a carry-on suitcase. So I booked a one-way ticket, hit the road in search of what the new normal of travel looks like. But more importantly, I'm in search of what my new normal looks like. I am the In Search of Traveler. So I recently booked a flight to Dubai with a layover in Amsterdam, and I took that flight this past Wednesday. Today is Saturday morning. It's actually 2 a.m. on Saturday. I filmed this entire video last night and I was so tired and sleep deprived and I looked so awful. Watching the footage back, I decided to refilm, and I still look pretty awful, but I look better now that I've had some coffee and a little bit of sleep. I am ready to retell this story. I called KLM, the airline that I'm flying, 3 times and spoke with 3 different people to make sure that I was getting the correct information, and all 3 people told me the exact same thing. They redirected me to a website that KLM has that you enter in where you're from and where you're going to, and it tells you what documents you need to enter that country. I have been filming all of my prep for this trip along with the actual trip. So next week's vlog, next Friday, I'm gonna go into exactly what I did to prep to go on this trip and what documents that you need to enter Dubai. This video is just gonna focus on the mistake I made. On the website, it says you need to take a PCR COVID test and get a negative result 96 hours prior to departure or less. Being the proactive person that I am, I decided to book my appointment as early as possible to give myself as much time as possible in case my results got delayed, because I would hate to have to cut into my trip to Dubai because I didn't get my results in time. I was able to get an appointment this past Saturday at 3:50 p.m. My flight was this past Wednesday at 1:50 p.m. So if you do the math on that, that's 94 hours before my flight, which is within that 96-hour window. I checked in at Los Angeles International Airport on Wednesday. I had no issues checking in. I had no issues getting on the plane. I got off the plane in Amsterdam on Thursday morning, and when you get off the plane right away, I went through a health screening check right at the gate. I then went to the lounge. I enjoyed the lounge during my 5-hour layover, and I went to board the flight. I had to go through another health screening before going to my gate. No issues going through the health screen. Everything checked out with the COVID test. No issues there. I then get to the gate and there's another line, and all the flight attendants are now checking the COVID test a 3rd time. And that's where the issues began. I gave my COVID test to the flight attendant. She looked at it and she explained to me that it's been more than 96 hours before I've taken this test. I explained to her I took the test on Saturday and I left from Los Angeles to get here on Wednesday, so it was actually within the 96 hours. It was 94 hours prior to my flight, prior to my departure. She explained to me that the 96 hours start on the last leg of your flight. So I had to get a COVID test 96 hours before leaving Amsterdam on my way to Dubai, which would mean I would need to have the test on Sunday and not Saturday. I redirected her to the website, and I also explained to her that I did call KLM 3 times, and I was told that it was from my departure in Los Angeles, and if I asked if they could call customer service and re-listen to the call with the instructions I was given. They didn't want to do that. They weren't having it. I spoke with multiple representatives, from that original flight attendant she sent me to a counter to speak with somebody. I then spoke with that person, and they directed me to their supervisor, and the supervisor said the exact same thing. You're not getting on this flight. They also told me they didn't have time to explain anything to me, like, where's my luggage? Where am I gonna sleep? How is this gonna work? Because as an American, you are not able to enter into Amsterdam right now. Americans are banned from the Netherlands. They said, look, we're really busy. You need to go to the transfer counter. They'll explain everything to you. I got so lucky because I got the nicest lady at the transfer counter who explained everything to me. She first said I was correct, that based on what was on the website, it reads as 96 hours prior to departure, as in prior to leaving LA, I needed a COVID test with a negative result, which I did fulfill. She was a little bit annoyed. She tried calling the gate to let them know that I should be on that flight, and they let her know the flight had already left. So she was like, you know, that kind of sucks, but this is what you need to do now. You're no longer within 96 hours, so even if you are correct, now that that flight's left, the earliest you can get on a flight would be tomorrow, which means you need to take another COVID test. So that's where things started to get fun and expensive. I had to schedule an appointment at the clinic within the airport to take another COVID test and get a negative result. The cost of the COVID test was 145 euro. And in US dollars, it's about $170. Took my test on Friday, which is yesterday morning. It was awful. In the United States, when I went to CVS to take it, they have this long swab, and they actually have you break off a big piece of it so it doesn't go in as deep. They had the exact same swab for my test that I took yesterday. However, they didn't break off that piece. They went all the way up. And also, unlike CVS, they do it for you. So it was really intense. She really got up in there. So that was not fun. And they also do a throat swab where literally I gagged. She hit my throat in a spot and I was like, like I was gonna throw up. Thankfully I didn't. But it was very invasive. It was a lot harder than doing it in America. So just be happy if you have to take a COVID test in America. It's not as bad based on my experience. I guess every place is probably different, but it was pretty intense here. After I took my test, I've just been hanging out. So I'm sure you guys are probably thinking, well, where are you sleeping? So last night, I tried to get into a hotel. They were actually sold out. A lot of people who are in the same situation. I feel very lucky. I travel full time, so I'm gonna be in Dubai for a month, so having my trip delayed a few days isn't that big of a deal. But there's some people that they're going on vacation for like a week, and they're having 3 or 4 days of their trip cut into, so they're only gonna have 2 or 3 days in Dubai when they get there, and that's a bummer. So there's a lot of not happy people right now. As you can see in this picture, I can go like this almost and touch both walls. This room is super tiny. It's a little bit bigger than a capsule, but it's better than my accommodations last night. Last night I slept in the actual airport, and by sleep I mean I laid on a hard suitcase and didn't get any sleep. I slept for maybe a couple hours, if even that. I was just really nervous somebody was gonna steal something from me. It's nice to be in a room where I can like leave my bag and not have to worry. However, it's very expensive. It's 139 euro a night. So just to put that into perspective, I don't even know how much that is in American dollars, but between the COVID test I had to pay for today and this hotel for 2 nights, because at the earliest I'm leaving on Sunday, I spent about $500 that I wasn't planning on spending. You know, keeping in mind, I already had a hotel booked for a month. I'm very grateful to have a bed and a space to sleep in. I'm very grateful for coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I've been drinking a lot of it these last 24 hours. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Now, what can you guys do to not get in the situation that I got in? Take your COVID test as close to leaving as possible. I think the biggest mistake that I made was taking my COVID test at 96 hours out. I would try to take your COVID test within 72 hours, because another fun thing that happened was while I've been here, I've been getting conflicting information. They're now saying that you actually have to have a COVID test within 72 hours of landing in Dubai. And depending on how my flight was booked on Sunday, the test that I took on Friday might not even be valid. I might have to take another test in Dubai. I mean, it's just wild, this whole thing. So definitely check and double check, and you know, you can do what I did, call the embassy and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, the rules can change hourly. It was recommended that I do submit a claim, because based on what's on the website, I did follow all of the procedures. So I am gonna try and get reimbursed for the COVID test and for the 2 nights, the $500 I had to spend today. But just be careful, because, you know, my heart just breaks for, you know, people who weren't able to get into this hotel. When I was taking my test, I met an older gentleman who is in a wheelchair, and he's like, I was able to get a hotel for 1 night, but I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. He'll be in my video next Friday. He agreed to be interviewed. It's just, his story is so sad. Long story short, read the rules, double read them, triple read them, and just make sure you take your COVID test as close to your departure as possible. If I would have taken my test on Sunday or even Monday, I wouldn't be in this situation. So thank you guys for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the video next week, where I'm really gonna dive into all the prep I did and what my flight to Dubai is like, and am I gonna test negative for COVID? Because I said, oh my gosh, this couldn't get any worse, but gosh, wouldn't that be a plot twist if I tested positive for COVID, and what would happen then? So I'll get my results later today. We'll see what happens. Will I get on that flight on Sunday? Who knows? So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss next week's video, where I'm gonna show you everything. Thanks for watching. Bye.